within about 30 seconds, it had given me a 360-degree environment. And my wife was like, that's a philodendron, whatever, whatever. And this is and like she was blown away at the detail of the plants.
Hi, in this video, we'll be able to listen to some of the guests which we invite to our weekly Mr. Metaverse discussion. This is a new tool developed by Blockade Labs, and what it allows you to create a skybox, and just by giving it a small prompt and just drawing some lines, basically. So you can give like a small description of the environment looking for, and then there's a website link in the description of the event, so you can go and play around with it yourself. You go direct to their website, and then you can just put in the prompt, and you drawing some lines and choosing what you would like it to be. So if it's a realistic picture, if it's a sky, if it's some surreal, there's a lot of different styles. I personally play around with it for a bit, and I will be sharing my examples in our newsletter. And it's really interesting tool, I would say. And I recommend trying around and playing with it. And just showing the video right now while we'll be discussing, shared by Blockade Labs themselves, about just 30 seconds video. I'm showing it on YouTube, so you can see what potential this tool is. And Cory, if you're right now here, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that tool, and if you would like to share about potential partnership between Agora and Skyblock, it'll be great to hear.
No, and Andrew, I'll just hop in because I get really excited about it. I saw Skybox by Blockade Labs on an Instagram account called Metaverse by RP Nicholson, I think the day that they released it, and it's freemium, it's text to 3D environment. And I saw the link and I thought it sounded really cool, especially because one of my roles is the Chief Growth Officer at Agora World. We're kind of Canva for the metaverse. We're chain agnostic, no real estate, freemium as well, just drag and drop a 3D environment. But so I saw this skybox and I went to it. I live here in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and we have a ton of exotic plants here at my condominium. And so I went on the skybox and I said, create a botanical garden in Brazil with rare exotic houseplants. And within about 30 seconds, it had given me a 360-degree environment. And my wife was like, that's a philodendron, whatever, whatever. And this is and like she was blown away at the detail of the plants, and they were all regional to Brazil. And that to me was a real aha moment. So because I have a pretty big reach and reputation in this space on LinkedIn, I was able to connect with both the founders of Blockade Labs, who makes this Skybox product, pretty quickly. And I got on the phone with both of them and let them know what we're doing at Agora World as well. And just quick 10-second pitch, if anybody wants to play around for free, go to agoravr.world or just Skybox. So I connected them with the founder of Agora World, and we're going to basically be embedding within each other. So you can do a text to Agora World, which is a lot more kind of robust. And then, you can walk around and have different elements and different parts of the world, whereas the Skybox is more of a one scene thing. So we're going to give them the partnership as well, where they can extend their worlds out and you can play around in it. Their founder spent years, and I think over a decade, at a pretty high level in the video game space as well.
We just crossed 40 subscribers mark yesterday. If you like what you're listening right now, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. It takes a second for you to do it. It costs nothing, and it means a world to us. It shows us that we are moving in the right direction and we produce the right content. So thank you. Enjoy.
So for me, where I see a lot of the generative AI going is, how do we create our own realities? How do we take these different disparate technologies and put them together? I gave a keynote at the Metaverse Expo last year in Las Vegas, where I said that I think the metaverse is kind of the step towards the fourth dimension because it can help us transcend both space and time. And I had a couple of people that have been at the forefront of the metaverse space for years come to me afterwards and said, Cory, that's kind of what we've been saying for a while as well. Like, this really does open up opportunities for complete new realities. And what I'm loving right now about this generative AI and kind of tech renaissance is most stuff is free to play with. So you can go play with Skybox for free. You can play with Agora World for free. You can play with, obviously ChatGPT. If you don't want to go pro, you can do that for free. Like, everything is as available to learn as we want to. But so that's kind of my story and my experience with Skybox, and then very quickly Agora World just got a grant from the company that partnered with Google Earth and Google Maps for their AI. So we're going to actually be partnering with Google Earth and Google Maps so that you can create your own virtual environment or even a game using Google Earth. So you can go make kind of an environment around the house that you grew up in or your
That's
dream
huge.
plot of land. Yeah, it's gonna be massive, and the partnership has been officialized. Monies are in the bank. Some stuff's being built. I think actually literally as we speak. But we're really just excited to see the convergence of so many different industries: generative AI, metaverse, video games, the different education type platforms that are starting to emerge. And I've enjoyed hearing all of the perspectives and wisdom from everyone on the call. But I just have to say, although I also sent it in a private message, that Tim was blowing my mind. Like, I was jaw on the ground while he was sharing and talking about some of what he's doing. So I'll shut up because I know we're coming up on time, but I'm just super excited, especially for Text 2 and very soon to be Thought 2. Because they're starting to build digital thought bridges. A paralyzed guy just was able to start walking again using AI and his thoughts. It's a pretty wild time to be alive.
So, any questions to Cory about the Blockit Lab?
I think everybody wants some more Tim.
uh,
I was
uh,
actually going to ask
No,
you.
Cory's stuff is amazing. I can't wait to see
Yeah,
this.
yeah, because I'm actually interested about the partnership with Google Earth, and I was going to ask, in the entire development plan, you know how you have the metaverse influencers as the hot shot in the influencing industry. So, do you think it's going to be advisable to plan towards creating some sort of ecosystem that gives a sense of VVIP treatment or preference as you're developing the platform?
Well, the way I look at the metaverse is a little bit more holistic. I think metaverses, first of all, have been focusing on real estate, where real estate is a two-dimensional, resource where shoreline and neighbors and air pollution matters. That doesn't exist in a expansive, unlimited digital reality. So I really don't see having a plot of land next to Snoop Dogg in a certain world on a certain chain that you have to buy with a certain token, like having any real world um, value at all. I think that the real estate play was a little bit of a kind of cash grab early on. I think if chains, or rather, if metaverses aren't chain agnostic and if they're not interoperable, and if people can't create their own realities and make it an extension of the experience that they want to experience as reality, then we're missing a lot of the mark. Like, I don't think people just want to go to a metaverse to play a game because you could have just gone to your VR headset or to that game browser or your terminal. So I think there needs to be more of like a choose your own adventure and like what do you want. I think everyone's going to have kind of their own metaverse experience that can play nicely with most other metaverse experiences soon. Like there will absolutely be historic metaverses where you can live in the past and outer space metaverses where you can go travel to Jupiter and like the multiverse theory is becoming a reality. Um,
we'll
and,
have a
and I think
Metaverse
people,
multiverse.
yeah, right. But I really think we're in this phase where people somewhat like en masse got burnt out on metaverse because first it was metaverse and it's NFTs and it's this and it's that and like people couldn't keep up. And I think truthfully the adoption curve was so high. Like people wanted to get into the metaverse and then they realized that you needed to get a certain wallet and get a certain crypto and like all the things that have kept mass adoption from basically Web3 so far. We need all of those kind of barriers and friction points to be resolved and to be done away with. So I don't know if I answered your question specifically, and if not, please either reframe it or accept my apology. But that's more of my zoomed out kind of quick diatribe on my metaverse philosophy.
Following up on
Thank
what
you.
Cory said is basically we are right now repeating the history, the dot-com crash in a way. When the internet was created, no one figured it out yet. Everyone said they figured it out, and then it got overhyped and crashed, and then we figured out it later with Web 2, and it became a huge success. We are basically in this period post-hype, when right now our goal is to build and figure it out. And there is a recent news I just read today about Improbable. Those in the space probably know them. This is one of the basically biggest companies in the metaverse space. They was in metaverse infrastructure. Basically, they burned through almost $500 million to create a metaverse infrastructure. They were aiming for being a company to basically host the metaverse, and they understood that it's impossible. That's too big pie to eat, because right now they're pivoting, at least from the news they shared, and by the end of June, and we'll be covering that, they will announce what their plans are. Right now they're building the discussion group and trying to figure out what the future is, because unfortunately pixel streaming and services like that are really expensive. All the 5 multiplayer RPG games which was hosted through the Improbable ran out of cash really quickly and struggled. There is numbers, for example, from other side for their first trip, which will happen last summer. It's not 100% information, but from different sources, the prices they paid just for, I think, 1 hour stream was something around $100,000, 50 to 100,000 depending on sources and who you ask. But basically, it was really expensive for just 1,000 people to host all of them in the space for $100,000. It's just too expensive and too hard. And that's and what this teaches us is that we will it's impossible. Metaverse is the internet. It's the new generation of internet, and you can become a metaverse platform, but it's really hard to become the internet. It's close to impossible, if not impossible. Maybe some will prove that wrong, but from the research and from results so far, no one was able to. So we are looking forward to, as Cory said, multiverse in a way. We'll have a lot of different metaverse platforms for different needs, for different goals, with different aspects. It can be VR, AR. It can be for specific types, specific goals. I recently on a conversation with Private said that we might even head to country metaverse platforms. So there'll be Metaverse France, Metaverse Italy, Metaverse Egypt, and so on and so forth. And you can jump through the metaverse platforms of the countries. Thank you to the watching to the end. If you like more exclusive content, you like the memes, or you'd like to learn through the text, consider subscribing to our newsletter. Links in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and probably you might like this video.